I never really got into Transformers. I actually don't know a great lot about the franchise, but I did had a couple of toys because they looked cool and, well, transformed. I was probably not alive when the Generation 1 saga aired, and my first real introduction to the Transformers was with Beast Wars. But there was one series that I saw when I was a kid, and until a very long time later, I came to realize that it was a long forgotten saga of the Transformers. I'm talking about the Japanese exclusive Transformers Victory with Supreme Commander Star Saber. And yes, I now realize that they all sported the Autobot or Decepticon logo in their bodies, but I didn't know about that at that time. Anyway, there was something about Star Saber that I really liked. I don't know if it was because he could transform into a jet and then he could combine with another portion of his plane to become this massive robot that kinda looked like Optimus but was not really Optimus. I also don't know exactly how is it that a Japanese exclusive anime aired locally when I was a kid, but I perfectly remember the part where Optimus, or God Ginrai to be more exact, died and was transformed into a big lion and then he went berserk. I don't know, it was something super weird, and I think that it was one of the first times I saw a major protagonist die. Roy Fokker from Robotech being the other one. Ginrai's death, or Optimus at that time, stood with me for a long time, and as I got older I started to research more about the Transformers and found out that the Transformers franchise is no stranger to killing all of its protagonists in order to introduce new ones in order to sell more toys. They probably took some cues from Tomino and Bandai. Recently, I started digging a little bit more on that story and creation of Transformers Victory, and now, as a Gundam fan, I more or less know why I liked so much the design of Star Saber, as it was a design polished by none other than Kunio Okawara, the OG designer of the RX-78-2. Obviously, I rewatched all of Transformers Victory, and even though it's nowhere near as serious as Gundam, I kinda like it. Well, I found it super repetitive at the beginning, then it gets super intense with the Cybertrons losing a lot to the point that God Ginrai dies, but then he returns as Victory Leo, it gets repetitive again, and then it ends. More or less, not really like that. It is an okay series with a very simple plot. But speaking of the designs, the mechanical design is very interesting, particularly towards the end with Lio Kaiser and Victory Saber. So, without further ado, my name is Absa and let's explore the curious case of Star Saber's Mecha design. Star Saber, at least for me, is one of the best looking Transformers of all the time. One of the main reasons why I didn't ever get into Transformers was the mechanical designs, as they are very blocky and big and don't really seem functional at all. They don't have to be functional since they are super robots. But all in all, their design aesthetics were never my cup of tea. I found it super weird that they had mouths even though there were others that could still speak and had their mouths covered. And for some strange reason they all had very pointy chins and either had two normal eyes or a big sunglasses like visor instead of eyes. And also some of them have long beards. Like, you're robots, you don't age nor grow facial hair. And I know, it's a super robot show. Things work differently there, but nonetheless I didn't like the designs. But with Star Saber that changed. First of all, he's introduced as the greatest swordsman in the universe, which again, it makes no sense for a super advanced mechanical lineform to use something as mundane as a sword. But it looks super cool. As a child, I was a sucker for sword battles. That was the most amazing thing for me. Even better when they were robots. Messenger with a sword? Great! Get a robot with an axe? Amazing! Lightspeed Electro God Arbagas with a sword, super good. And yeah, don't ask me how I know that series. I don't know how it got to me, but yes, I watch Electro God Arbagas. I don't know how. Future Trunks with a sword, that Saiyan knows the stuff. As I was saying, the first time that we see Star Saber is in his full battle mode, and then he magically appears his sword of justice and destroys his enemies. In real life, he was designed by more or less 3 persons. The concept art was probably made by Masakatsu Saito, as we can see in these Transformers Victory concept line arts, but Star Saber was probably then polished by Takahashi Kunihiro, a super veteran designer who has worked with a lot of Transformers characters. He also designed Victory Leon Live Kaiser, and finally Kunio Okawara, who probably incorporated the V-Star portion of the transformed and combined mode, since we can see that there's a lot of similarities between Star Saber's jet mode to the core booster from the original Gundam trilogy movies. But to be honest, and with the information available on the web, I wasn't able to pinpoint who exactly contributed what to the final Star Saber design. The truth is that we can see that he was mainly designed by Saito, but he also does have inspiration from both the Gundam and the Transformers franchises, particularly from Optimus and the RX-78. His color scheme is greatly derived from Optimus, with his torso being totally red and also incorporating 2 kind of exhaust pipes in his shoulders. On the other hand, his head is very much a kind of merger of the original Gundam and Convoy, with the face mask, little vents on the side of the helmet, and even the mohawk or chonmage from the RX-78. Something that would later be revealed to be a compartment for the extra device that would allow him to combine with Victory Leo. And now that I mention it, his blocky head reminds me a lot of the Double Zeta Gundam's face, as they are both very big and bulky and have a super prominent forehead. Oh yeah, and a very nice and subtle touch is that Saber, the medium-sized robot whose transformation is a jet, actually semi-transforms into the torso of Star Saber. Something kind of reminiscent and maybe inspired by the way the core fighter, the jet-like component of the core block system, attaches to the Gundam's trunk. In fact, the way the Brainmaster of Courage gets into Saber, which in turn combines with the B-Star to form Star Saber, is, well, not exactly, but it reminds me of the Double Zeta combination and transformation sequence. They're not the same, they're actually very different, but they more or less follow the same steps of combining bigger and bigger parts to form a huge robot. But to be honest, in the 80s there were a lot of combining robots, so maybe I'm getting everything wrong and the transformation sequence is inspired from another anime that I don't know of. But if anyone knows, please leave it in the comments. Anyway, Star Saber does follow the big and blocky designs of all Transformers, with the absurdly large forearms and lower legs, and the usage of the primary colors that are reserved for the good guys. But that's not all. A little bit past the halfway point of the series, he receives the mid-season upgrade when he combines with the Victory Leo to form Victory Saber. Now, Victory Leo is the new form of God Ginrai, and if you ask me, his new design is not that cool. Well, maybe the lion mode, but not the robot nor the jet. The thing with God Ginrai is that his design was based off Optimus, but in that form he had a different coloration and bigger and more badass upgrades like blockier arms and legs, a new chest piece, and even a missile launcher and wings. With the Victory Leo, practically everything changed except the wings on the back. He even got a mouth this time. His color scheme is now predominantly black and yellow. He is still bulky, but not that much, and the little horns on his head look a little bit silly. On the other hand, the lion transformation is very nice, as he looks super threatening, like a mechanical saber-tooth with wings and guns. Things get interesting when he stops being Berserk and decides to gatai with Star Saber and form Victory Saber. And when I say interesting, I mean bigger and blockier. Victory Saber is exactly Star Saber with bigger legs and a winged backpack. That's it. And don't get me wrong, I love the simplicity of this new combination. It's very super roboty. For example, the full armor Double Zeta had to ditch the transformation in order to incorporate heavier weapons and armor, but since the Transformers don't care about physics or mechanics, Victory Saber even has a combined jet mode that looks totally impractical, but hey, it's actually super fast. Also, it's not that his legs got another bending point or extra thrusters or something like that. No, he just got super big shoes, like absurdly bigger, to the point that in some parts of the anime they are toned down so that it doesn't look so bizarre and clowny. On the other hand, Star Saber does look much better with the backpack and the wings. I don't know why, maybe because of Messenger's jet scrander, but I totally associate a backpack with wings to super robots. I'm sorry, Gundam Wing. And as I said before, God Ginrai looked super cool with his wings, so now that Victory Saber is sporting that look, he definitely looks better. There's also the fact that he's now wider, giving the visual impression of being bigger and stronger. You know, like the peacocks that spread their feathers to look more menacing. The other notable mecha design that caught my attention was Lion Kaiser, especially its face, given that it looks super menacing with his angular mouthpiece, kinda like the Zeta Gundam, and also his lion helmet reminds me a lot of the God Warrior from Saint Seiya, coincidentally named Mizar Zeta Z. He is also very interesting because he is formed by the combination of 6 Decepticons, the Destron group named Breast Force. Yes, I know, they have a very unfortunate name. The thing is, by themselves they look okay, but once they form Lion Kaiser, they look very menacing and imposing. Well, except for his color scheme that's all over the place and very 80s looking, but not in a good way. And given the fact that it's a Super Robot show, I will leave it as is and definitely not get into the whole physics law violation of matter rearrangement going on when they merge and form Lion Kaiser. It's okay, it's Super Robot, they don't have to follow the laws of physics. Back to Supreme Commander Star Saber. All in all, and it may be nostalgia doing the talk here, I like a lot the design and transformation mechanics of Star Saber and Victory Saber. It's probably nowhere near as sophisticated or elegant as, I don't know, the Double Zeta Gundam or the newer versions of Optimus, but it holds a special place in my mecha history, and also he's a very interesting case of mecha oblivion phenomena since he was designed by legendary mechanical designers but has not yet appeared in new media regarding the Transformers saga or even gotten newer toys with a more modern portrayal. Hopefully we'll see more of him in the future, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it. I hope you like my not so in-depth mechanical design exploration of Star Saber from Transformers Victory, one of the least well-known Transformers cartoons in the West, one that happens to be the only one that I watched when I was younger. And you may be asking, Absa, how did you jump from exploring Gundam series to this Transformers cartoon? And well, the thing is that as I'm doing my research, I open many tabs and many videos here and there, and all of a sudden I came across the opening of Transformers Victory while searching for something that I don't even remember right now. That's when I decided to check out a little bit more of Star Saber, and well, 2000 words in, I decided to make a video. Weird thing though is that this video coincides with Hasbro crowdfunding project for a new Victory Saber action figure. I'm not really getting paid or anything, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm definitely going to back it up, even though right now I do prefer model kits. I'll leave the link in the description if you're a fan of Star Saber like me. Anyway, Do you like Transformers or have a mecha series aside from Gundam that you like? Right now, I'm actually rediscovering a lot of mecha series from the past, like Escaflowne, Macross, and even Get a Robo. So if you have a show that you think it's interesting, please leave it in the comments. And as you may or may not know, my name is Absa, and we can continue the conversation over at Twitter, where you can follow me at Absalonicas, and on Instagram, where I post pictures of my figures, my cats, and sometimes even myself. I'll be trying to talk more about anime, comics, and maybe even figures. But till next time, always remember that in fiction lies power, so let's use it to forge a new type of story, our hero's journey.